Hello, history class. This is Miss M. I'm still sick, so if I sneeze or cough in your ear, I apologize. If you need to borrow the headphone splitters that are in my room, please feel free to go do so at this point. Otherwise, we'll just continue. So today we have several objectives. First of all, we're going to identify your level of understanding of the main ideas from the Russian Revolution. So we're going to go over a couple things to do with that. Then we're going to get into the question of why the United States entered the war. So you're going to be analyzing the arguments that the United States gave for entering this war. You're going to assess, in particular, the arguments presented by Germany after their attack on the Lusitania. And you're going to really analyze that debate. Then you guys are going to be debating. So first things first, I'd like you to now do the Russian Revolution self-check. That's the half sheet I gave you yesterday. So please find yours, okay? And once you have it, pause this video. Okay, so now that you've completed the self-check, one thing I wanted to do first is just go over a couple of things. So first of all, that self-check is really important because it's going to help you identify what I expected you to learn from that reading. And at the same time, I understand that certain things probably were clearer than others. So what I need you to do for homework tonight is I want you to go through everything that's on that half sheet, and I want you to review it on your own, okay? So I want you to look at that half sheet right now, and anything that's not a C or a yes is something that I'd like you to spend a little bit more time on tonight or over the next few days, okay? Eventually we will have a quiz, and of course we'll have some time in class to talk about some of these items. But I'd really like you to go home and spend some time with this self-check and make sure you know everything that's on it. The second thing I'd like you to do for homework is you're going to continue working on your battle websites. I know, you thought you were done, right? Well, no, because now over the next couple of days, oh, that's my neighbor. Over the next couple of days, I'll be sending you your feedback. I'll be sending you the rubrics with how you did, and you and your group can start revising the website as needed. Other classmates of yours will be using the website soon, and so for that reason, I'm giving you guys a few days just to get it fully shipshape. Okay, there's a couple things that I predicted that you guys would want me to review as regard to the Russian Revolution. In particular, I thought that you would want me to go over the February and March Revolution versus the November-October Revolution. So let me go over the February-March one first. What should you know about this one? First of all, you should know that it only took place in the capital, which back then was called Petrograd, which was actually the new name of St. Petersburg. The Russian capital at this time was St. Petersburg, aka Petrograd. Now, of course, it is Moscow. This revolution, the February Revolution, lasted less than a week. Mass demonstrations and armed clashes took place against the Tsar and his policemen. There weren't actually any real leaders to it, though. It was sort of a broad, popular uprising. Ultimately, it led to the abdication of Tsar Nicholas II. What that means is that the Tsar gave up his legal right to rule. He signed a right of abdication, meaning that he was giving up any kind of claim to the throne. And that led to the setting up of a provisional government. Well, that worked for a few months until the October-November Revolution. Oop, typo. The October Revolution built on the February Revolution, but it was led by Vladimir Lenin and the Bolsheviks. Vladimir Lenin's, famously, his brother had been killed by the Tsar's forces, and ever since then, Lenin had really mobilized against him. He had been in exile in Paris, and it was only with his abdication, the abdication of Nicholas II, that Lenin could return. He came back, and he and the Bolshevik Party, which whenever you see the word Bolshevik, just think communist, because the Bolsheviks were a particular kind of Russian communism. Well, they gave power to the Soviets, or workers' unions. That's where the name Soviet Union comes from these workers' unions. And this is where the Russian Revolution got much more radical. The palaces were taken by them. the royal family was captured and killed. And this directly led to the longer Russian Civil War. And that's what you guys did for homework last night. The idea of the Reds, meaning communists and Bolsheviks, versus the Whites, or noble aristocratic Russians for the most part, or at least loyal to the Tsar, part of the Russian Revolution. So these are the two kind of big steps in the Russian Revolution. Make sure you spend some time really thinking about what the differences between these two are, and kind of how they built, how the October Revolution builds off of the February one. Okay, let's move on. Now we're moving into the second part of the lesson. Remember, I said that today we would be reviewing the Russian Revolution, but also analyzing why the United States entered World War I. So here's the date. The United States did not enter World War I at the beginning. World War I started in July, August 1916. The United States did not enter World War I until April 6, 1917. So why? That's the big question. Because the thing is, the war didn't directly affect the United States. In fact, many Americans were actually opposed to the war. Jewish Russian Americans hated the Tsar because Nicholas II had had so many pogroms and anti-Jewish policies. Irish Americans disliked England because of the potato famine and other things that England had done to its Irish colony that had very drastic human consequences. German Americans still had a strong affiliation to Germany, so they didn't want the United States to join the war against Germany. And anybody who was a socialist, a pacifist, or an anarchist usually was going to be anti-war. So put it all together, it's not immediately clear why the United States would have joined, especially considering that so many Americans would have been against it. So as historians, we need to analyze why that happened. So they did eventually declare war, and this happened in 1917, and it happened for a variety of reasons that we're going to start getting into when we wrap up the debate. But today, we're going to start with the very first big issue, and that's the sinking of the Lusitania. So, our essential question for today is going to be, was the sinking of the Lusitania justified, or was it a war crime? Here's some facts to start us off. Fact number 1. Germany had issued warnings in American papers warning that any travel near the British Islands was travel, quote, at your own risk, end quote. Meaning they considered any area around Britain to be a legitimate target of war. So they issued many warnings in American papers to that extent. Now, another fact. The Lusitania was an ocean liner, that means a big passenger ship, okay, not military vessel. Ocean liner is a passenger ship of the Cunard Line Company, okay. Fact, it was actually a relative of the Titanic, okay. The Titanic was created as part of several different passenger ships, the Mauretania, the Lusitania, and of course the Titanic. And it turns out the Lusitania had pretty bad luck as well. It was torpedoed on May 7th, 1915, off the coast of Ireland. Very, very close to its final destination, actually. 1,200 people died, 128 of whom were American. Americans were not happy at all by this, as you might imagine. Emotions ran high. Now, this video is actually not a historical video. It's a Hollywood film made about the sinking of the Lusitania. And obviously, if you lived back then, you wouldn't have seen this video because this video was produced only like 10 years ago. But nonetheless, I think it summarizes very well the different emotions related to the Lusitania. So go to MyCDS and click on the second link so that you can watch this video. I tried to record it here so it'd all be in one place, but that didn't work very well. So please load that video and watch it now.